and the football coach saw me just kind of messing around at practice one day at soccer. And we were just kicking footballs for the heck of it. And he saw me and came up to me later the next day and said, hey, you want to kick field goals for us? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to. There were only 4 games left in the season. So the first game was the homecoming game. I never kicked a field goal at all, ever. So it was, I played 4 games my senior year, and then I made a video at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, just because I didn't have enough tape to show any coaches that I could kick. So I played soccer that first freshman year in college, and then I switched to football. And luckily, Bowling Green had an 85th scholarship available, and they gave it to me. And that's kind of how I got to where I am today. Because honestly, I have so many great memories of high school sports and high school in general. But the sports memories, as we all probably can agree, are just unforgettable, and they live with you forever. And there are probably days, just a few days go by before I start thinking of a goal I scored or a game we won or something like that. And I'm like, man, I'm still thinking about that like 35 years later. But it was so much fun back then. And I know we have some student athletes here from local high schools, and they have a chance here to see what can be. Because where are they? Back there in the corner? We couldn't get them a better table? Come on. Those are a select few from the area high schools and the public schools here that were able to come tonight and see where athletics has led a lot of you. And so congratulations on all your success, and congratulations on being selected to come here tonight. So thank you for being here, the young student athletes. Now, we have something new this year, and it's a new award. We have a couple of presentations tonight, but this is something we created for this year, and we are pretty excited about it. So it's a brand new award. It was created to recognize an individual for sportsmanship, dedication, and service in developing student leaders. It is the Frank Inslee Service Award. And yes, and a lot of us don't know everything that Frank accomplished back in the day, but Frank Inslee was a man who touched a lot of lives in the Seattle School District. He graduated from Ballard, taught and coached at Garfield, and eventually moved on to Chief Sealth. He did it all. He was everywhere. Frank remembered as a teacher who went out of his way to help all students, especially the ones who struggled academically. In 1965, Frank became the athletic director of Seattle Public Schools, where he embraced implementation of Title IX, and we all know how important Title IX was, ushering in women's athletics into schools. And, we talk about certain things, and Frank served his country as a member of the Navy in World War II, and there is no question he has served the Seattle community throughout his lifetime. And for all his efforts, we are honored to create this prestigious award in his name. Helping us present the award tonight on behalf of the Inslee family is Ingram High School graduate, Washington governor, and the next president of the United States, Governor Jay Inslee. I always wanted to say that.
Well, thank you. This is a huge honor for an Ingram Ram to be able to kind of honor 2 Ballard Beavers. And I have some really great things about saying Ballard Beavers tonight, and I just want to mention 2 of them. I'm going to talk about Dick Lee in a moment, but I do want to say how much we're touched to name this in honor of my father, in the name of my father, because I think my father's career represented the best of sports, because it represented giving young people confidence, aspiration, and a sense of teamwork that lives with them through their lives. And all of us who are lucky enough to have been involved in sports know what that means to us individually. I just want to tell you one story about my dad that is indicative to me about how important coaches are and teachers are. When I was campaigning for governor 2012, I came out of a political meeting, and this older-looking guy came up to me and said, "Hey, are you Frank Inslee's son?" I go, "Yeah." And I go, "Why?" And he says, "Well, Frank Inslee, he was a teacher and counselor and coach at South." And I go, "Yeah, that's true." And he goes, "Well, I got to tell you a story about your dad." He said, "I was a junior at South High School back in the mid-'60s, and I was having real problems. I wasn't doing well in school. My mom was sick. I had to drive her to the hospital all the time. And I was walking down the hallway, and I literally was thinking, this is going to be my last day at South High School. I've had it. It's not working for me." And he said, literally, your dad came up and took my shoulders and put me up against some lockers, gently, I'm sure. And he said, your dad said, hey, John, I've been watching you. Something's going on in your life. Things not working. I don't know what it is, but I've watched you. You're a smart kid, and you got something on the ball. And I want you to come make sure you graduate from South High School, because I think you've got something you're going to do in life. We just got to get you on the beam. So I want you to come in my office 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and let's get you ready to make something of yourself. And he said, literally, a light bulb went off in his head thinking, oh, gosh, maybe I do have a future. And he went in the next morning, and he became a leader in the labor community. And that kind of relationships happen 10,000 times a day across America when you have a coach giving a young person a feeling about who they are and having value in themselves and optimism and a little self-discipline. And so to be able to name an award after my dad, we're just very appreciative. My brothers and their wives and Trudy are here tonight. We want to thank this organization for giving this in his name. And I want to thank you for naming the recipient Dick Lee, because there's a lot of great people in this community. Larry Gossett's here tonight, who's been a great leader in our community. We've got school superintendents who are here tonight. But when you think about someone who's given their decades of service to really giving people an opportunity, kids an opportunity to get involved in schools, it's Dick Lee. What he has done has been truly extraordinary. After a tremendous private career in the restaurant hospitality business, great career at Ballard High School in the U, and he has gone on to raise over $10 million so kids can have a chance to play. What an tremendous record. And if there has been a nonprofit organization that has helped somebody get an opportunity to play, Dick Lee's been there for the last couple of decades. From his BASH program at Ballard to what he's done with the Alumni Association at Ingram. And music, the Music for All, Dick, that's what it's called, music for somebody. So it's not just athletics, he's helped for the music community as well. And so you know that there's a lot of people out there who are successful in life in part because they got a chance to play because of what Dick Lee did. And there's nothing better than when an Ingram Ram honors a Ballard Beaver. So can you come up here, Dick, so we can honor you with the Frank Inslee Service Award for what you've done. Now, I actually don't see a plaque right here, so I'm going to give you another order today. He's getting the Frank Inslee Service Award, but as governor, I also get to do awards. And I get to award the Washingtonian of the Day Award. That's the most inspirational person in Washington. And when I do that, I take off this Washington apple pin and pin it on. Today, the Washingtonian of the Day is Dick Lee right here. So, is that okay if I do that? You get a certificate, but you've got to buy your own prayer. Thanks, Dick. Thank you. I'm going to leave because I understand. Thank you so much.
I am humbled by this honor and so very pleased to be receiving it. An honor named after a very caring, dedicated, and respected man, Frank Inslee, who truly made a difference in many Seattle Public School athlete lives. And receiving this honor from you, the governor, is very special. I look forward to being able to tell this story for years to come and to tell people that I got the award from the President of the United States. And I do not need any security clearance to come visit you, so it's all good. As a Beaver, I was a good athlete, but I was certainly not to the extent of the many greats in attendance tonight. As a first-generation high school athlete, I credit athletics as allowing me to be a first-generation athlete, graduate, and playing basketball has been something I have just truly loved. My only regret is meeting and playing against the gentleman by the name of Bob Flowers from Garfield, who is in the audience tonight and kept me and Ballard from winning the city and state championship in 1961. The good news is Bob and I have remained good friends, and when I asked Bob to join me on the Hall of Fame committee, he immediately stepped forward to serve. My message tonight is really something that is aimed at the 10 or 11 student athletes who are here tonight. Pure and simple, my message is one word: dream. Never forget the word dream. As you journey through life, keep those dreams coming. They won't all be successful, but with hard work, dedication, and some sweat, many, if not most of your dreams will become a reality. So the point is never, never stop dreaming. That's what I did. I dreamed of playing high school basketball. That dream became true at Ballard. I dreamed of playing college basketball. That became true, and I played at the UW. I dreamed of playing professional basketball. And that became true, too, because I played two minutes for a team called the Anaheim Amigos in the first year of the ABA. And if you don't think I love I love talking to people who are much better athletes than me, and when they're mouthing off, I say to them, well, how much pro time have you had? One of my most in my professional career, one of my most things I am accomplishments is that I'm had the pleasure of creating and assisting in creating the High School Athletic Hall of Fame. It's a dream, and one of the things that has been really amazing for me is going back and exploring 140 years of history from 13 high schools, not just to learn about the greatness of many student athletes, but most specifically to learn about what so many minority and women athletes had to endure along the way. It's truly amazing, and I am just so proud that I have been a part of this journey, and I look forward to keeping the High School Hall of Fame with many of you for many, many years to come. I am blessed to have many great family and wonderful friends in attendance here tonight, and for that I am very, very thankful. And to everyone in the audience, and not just our students, you could still dream. No matter how old we are, how young we are, you have to dream. Thank you.
Great message there, Dick. Congratulations. We are moving on to the Barbara Twardis Award. And, you know, I was going to introduce Tara Davis at this point, and I wrote a bunch of notes here so I could brag about Tara for a little bit. But she came in and said she's sick and she's not coming up here. So we're going to the bullpen, to use a sports term, and we're going to bring out Pat McCarthy, who is the Assistant Director of Athletics, and I know he's been studying back there very hard for this, so let's bring Pat out here and see how he does.
Well, it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Barb Twardis, and Barb Twardis is an amazing athletic director. She's been an administrator for over 25 years. And what's impressive about Barb is that she's been a leader of all the athletic directors' organizations. She's been a president of the WASA Hall of Fame. She's also been the president and in the Hall of Fame for the National Association for Athletic Directors. And she's also been the president and in the Hall of Fame for the WIAA. She is a person that just absolutely loves what she did as an athletic administrator, and she was very good at it. So my message to share with you is she was loved and was a tremendous athletic director, and I can share with you some things that she doesn't like. She doesn't like broccoli, and she doesn't like Brussels sprouts. So with that, I'd like to introduce Barb Twardis, who's a tremendous athletic director.
thank you, Pat. You left out the liver. It goes without saying, folks, that I am deeply honored and very grateful for this award of merit given in my name. It's extremely rewarding to know that you're being honored and recognized for your lifetime of work, and as importantly, what you stood for. So thank you so much. And many of you are here that I've had an opportunity to revisit with this evening that were in the program and participating as athletes and administrators during my tenure. It's really delightful. I'm also here to, I want to back up a little bit. I have to say, in all honesty, and this, to the Inslee family, all of you, and Trudy, I haven't met you. I hope I have an opportunity to do that at some point. But if it were not for your dad, Frank Inslee, I would not be standing here nor have the opportunities that I had. An incredible man who did embrace Title IX and the opportunities for women. His encouragement, his support, his mentoring, his guidance. He set me straight a few times. I drove him crazy a few times. No question about it. A consummate professional. I learned so much from him, and I can tell you when I went off to national meetings, I could shine compared to so many other people there from what I learned from Frank on how to conduct meetings and how to behave. Above all else, he was a teacher, and I learned a great deal. I owe him an incredible debt of attitude, and I want Todd and Frank Jr. and Jay to know that. Thank you. The recipient this evening for the Award of Merit is the Yee family. And Joycey, I haven't spotted where you are sitting, but this is when, there she is. Come on up. I'll talk. Come on up, Joycey. The Yee family has been an incredible force in the city and well beyond for the things that the entire family has been involved with regarding tennis. Started with their mother, Amy, the matriarch of the family, and passed that on to all of her children. All of the specific information about their accomplishments and their athletic achievements are in your program, and I hope that you do take the time to read that. Their athletic achievements are actually mind-boggling, with over 2,000 titles amongst the family. Who does that, you know? All of them. I think the second thing is that their service to the community, that they offered so much to so many people in teaching, and their love for the sport and sharing it with others and promoting the sport of tennis to helping it grow, and it still does. But I think the last piece that's extremely important relative to the entire Yee family is the community that they have created around the world of tennis. And we all know that community is extremely important in every sector of our society. It doesn't matter where or what, as long as we have that sense of community, because it gives people a place to belong, a place where people are supported, as they were by your family. For some people, it is their family. And for other people, it gives them a sense of identity. And the Yee family has created a tremendous community within this city. It's no wonder that the city of Seattle named the tennis center after the Yee family. So Joycey, on behalf of the Seattle Schools Athletic Hall of Fame Award, I'm delighted to present you with this year's Award of Merit.
Thank you, Barbara. The Yee family just wants to say we're very, very, very proud and honored to win the award. And thank you, everybody. Bye.
Congratulations to the Yee family. I don't think, Joyce, I thought you weren't going to say anything tonight. So that was a lot. That was good. Okay, you know, moving along here in the program, we've given out some great awards, and I want to make sure that as we get through this and honor some of the inductees, there's three off the top that I really want to. You're going to see the stats and the accolades in the program, but I want to pick out a couple of the just the notable points that I thought were notable. So I'm not going to read right from their pages and tell you everything that they did, but I want to start with, as we go through the 2019 Hall of Fame inductees, we're going to start with Jeff Heath. Jeff is this is a guy who really, to me, is like the hidden gem. He's one of those hidden gems in Seattle sports, especially high school sports. 4-year letterman for the Garfield Bulldogs, and so he's a great athlete. But at the same time, former Washington head coach Jim Phelan, he called Heath the best fullback in the country at the time, but he chose a career in baseball instead of football. So this guy he really could do it all. He was a bit of an ox out there. He played 14 years in the majors, most of those with Cleveland, and he was voted as one of the top 100 Cleveland Indians of all time. He was a 3-time All-Star, but get this, in his best season with the Indians, he hit .343, he drove in 112 runs, he led the league in triples with 18, he was not named an All-Star that year. He hit .343. I mean, it's hard to believe, but I mean, this is our time to honor Jeff. He had nearly a .300 batting average for his career, and a columnist back in the day once wrote, "There are few better hitters in the American League. Jeff is not the most graceful ball hawk in captivity, and he may toss to the wrong base, but put a bat in his hands and the pitcher will tremble." 2019 Hall of Fame inductee Jeff Heath. Next up, Jack Medica. It's not often you can walk the high school halls and pass an Olympic swimmer, but back in 1932, that's exactly what the kids at Lincoln High School got to experience. I mean, walking by an Olympic swimmer. Jack competed in the 800-meter relay at the 1932 Summer Games in Los Angeles. At the 1936 Games in Berlin, this is the big one, Jack set an Olympic record, winning the gold medal in the 400 freestyle. He was the only American swimmer to win a gold at the Berlin Games. And he also came home with 2 silver medals. And I think that is just an astonishing feat. At one time, he held 11 world records. At Washington, he was an undefeated 3-time national champion in 3 different events. Think about that. He won 9 national titles at Washington in that 3-year span. And if you went up against Jack in his top 3 events, you knew the best you could do was going to finish second. You might as well just do what you can because you know he's going to take gold and take first. So Jack is a member of the Husky Hall of Fame and the International Swimming Hall of Fame now, and Seattle Public Schools High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Jack Medica, 2019 Hall of Fame inductee. Really cool. And I have to, on a personal note, you know, when I agreed to do this and I got a chance to read up on the history of a lot of you, because I didn't have the pleasure of covering you as a sports reporter and a sports anchor, but reading up on some of the athletes of the past that came through the Seattle School District, it really is amazing. So it was very cool for me to have my own history lesson over the last couple of weeks, and it's great to be here tonight with some of you who are going in as inductees. So next up, Ruth Jessen. Now, Ruth graduated Roosevelt High School in 1955. She was a tremendous golfer, winning the Seattle City Championship 3 times. And she was so good that Roosevelt's principal back in the day allowed her to get out of class early if she agreed to golf with his buddies. Back then, women in sports had to overcome some major challenges, and we know the opportunities were few, and I've spoken to a few of you tonight about just how few they were. Ruth had to compete with the boys. A perfect example, she went to college at Seattle U, where they didn't have any women's athletic programs. Ruth ended up earning a varsity letter from the men's golf team as a freshman. And I guess the guys drove her nuts because after that she left school, which is very uncharacteristic back then. But she left after her freshman year to play on the LPGA Tour, where she won 11 events. She also had 5 holes in one on that LPGA Tour. I mean, we were lucky, all of us were probably lucky just to get one and have a witness. She finished runner-up in 4 majors. 2 of those tournaments were 18-hole playoff losses, and that is heartbreaking. A heartbreaker at the 1964 U.S. Women's Open. That's how close she came to winning it. But, of course, with those majors, it wasn't just one playoff hole. It was an entire round. So she finished runner-up in 4 majors. Ruth battled through so many injuries in her career, and she's spoken about that over time. She seemed to always be a candidate for the Ben Hogan Comeback Player of the Year award. And she finally won that award in 1971. So Ruth Jessen, accepting for Hall of Famer Ruth Jessen, is her nephew, Jim Jessen.
Thank you very much. Ruth was a special, very, very, very special woman in athletics. On behalf of Ruth and the Jessen family, I would like to thank the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame for inviting Ruth Jessen to join this very exclusive group of extraordinary athletes. Words cannot fully describe Ruth's legacy and contribution to women's golf. Courageous, relentless, dedicated, inspirational, and beloved are just a few of the adjectives that come to mind. Winner of 19 career tournaments, 11 LPGA titles, Ruth was one of the most successful golfers, male or female, to ever come out of the Pacific Northwest. Paul had hit some highlights, but the theme that I wanted to present here is that she was a trailblazer and she broke barriers. And I'm her nephew, and I was very young at the time, but we used to talk about all kinds of close calls and what-ifs, and trying to get on teams that she couldn't get on. There was no golf team for women at Roosevelt High School. So some of the things that she pulled off. In 1954, at 17, she was the youngest winner of the Women's PNGA Amateur Championship. She was the first woman to ever win $10,000 or more in winning in an LPGA golf event, the 1971 Sears Classic. And now they're winning like, you know, a lot more than that. At the same time, I looked this up, the men were winning somewhere around $140,000 to $150,000 an event. She was voted, as Paul said, winner of the prestigious Ben Hogan Award by the Sports Writers of America. In fact, it's the same award that Tiger Woods will be receiving before the Masters ceremony in about 2 weeks. So we're really, really proud of that. She was the first woman to earn a varsity letter at the Seattle University men's golf team. And the reason is because there were no women's golf teams at Seattle U at the time. And she actually, Paul, she got to number 2. They didn't like her very much because she was beating everybody on the team. She's also credited with it being very inspiring she was the inspiration behind the very first girls PNGA Junior Championship in 1956. Because the previous 2 years as a teenager, she kept winning, and the women didn't like that, so they said, we need a place for junior golfers. 1956, Jawaan Gunderson from Lake Washington High School won, and that was the very first time. So, in conclusion, as an ambassador for women's golf in the early days of the LPGA, Ruth was a pioneer in promoting the rise of women's golf in America. She was tireless in leading and organizing the LPGA Tour in its infancy. Beloved by her fellow competitors and known for her wide putting stance, booming drives, and colorful outfits, she quickly became a gallery favorite. Ruth's inspirational career serves as a beacon for all women who have a dream, believe anything is possible, and then take dead aim. The true mark of a great athlete is not only measured by their record, but rather by the impact and the reputation they leave behind on the sport they loved. Thank you for this great honor.
Thought about photobombing that, but that wouldn't be very classy. Such a child. Okay. As we continue here, now we have a lot of inductees that are here with us tonight, so we're going to get a chance to see a short video of them as well. But before we get to those videos, I kind of want to just hit a few points with each inductee. Debbie Adams, Roosevelt High School graduate, 1977. She excelled in basketball and track. She won 5 individual track state titles for Roosevelt, holds 5 school records. And I think the thing that really jumped out at me when I look at, again, there's plenty to read on Debbie here.
Debbie Adams.
But the thing that really jumped out at me was she was awarded the first women's athletic scholarship
Hall
at
of
the
Fame for
University
Seattle
of
Public
Oregon,
Schools High School
which
Athletic
just blew me away. But what a
celebrating
great
140 years of athletic accomplishments.
You know, all the great numbers and a solid
Right
career
here
in
on
Oregon, and she is a member
Rainieravenueradio.world.
of the University of Oregon Hall of Fame. For more on Debbie Adams, we turn to some of the people who know her best.
Debbie's work ethic was a little bit different from the normal. She never wanted to compete with her brothers in the alley behind the house. As soon as we leave, she'd go out, practice what we had been doing, spending the last couple hours doing. Apparently it worked because she was faster, she could jump higher than all 3 of her brothers, and after a very short time, we didn't want to play with her.
As a athlete, Debbie was a beast in track. And she was good in basketball. I think track, she was a better athlete, but basketball was her passion. Debbie was captain. I think we were captain in our senior years at Roosevelt. She was a competitor. She was a leader. Debbie spoke. We pretty much listened.
As an athlete, Debbie was very powerful, aggressive. She took no prisoners. Finesse was not a part of her game. It was pure power. If she wanted to move you, you were going to move.
Back in 1977, 73 to 77, she was just good, way ahead of her time.
My fondest memory of Debbie is when she graduated college. She was the first Adams to go to and graduate from college. That made the family extremely proud, and one of the many, many reasons that I love her.
When I did see her run that 100, she just blew past everybody. In fact, I don't think she was behind. I think she had to lead from start to finish. She was just a monster in track. Never looked back, ran like a gazelle, just so smooth. As a basketball player, you know her accomplishments. She led our team in scoring senior year. And Debbie was a lefty. We weren't really used to left-handed basketball players, so that was a big deal for us. When she go left, and they think she's going to go right. Well, she's gone on past him.
As a representative of your family and friends, Debbie, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your induction into the SBS Athletic Hall of Fame.
Debbie, congratulations on being inducted to the Seattle Public Schools Hall of Fame. Yay, Debbie!
All right, you got it.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the SPS Athletic Hall of Fame. This is a great honor. I was in high school 45 years ago, but this is a great honor. I want to welcome my fellow Oregon Ducks. I see we got one back there. And yes, you got to go there. And I'm sure that there are some Rough Riders in here somewhere other than me. If they are, we welcome them as well. There's just a few people that I want to thank for my athletic career. One being my mom and dad, who both of them have passed away, but they did not miss an event. Whether it was a track event, a basketball event, recreation, it didn't matter. They were there and very supportive. When I went to college, they didn't miss a basketball game. They were there. So I appreciate them for giving me, one, the ability to run and jump and play basketball and run track, but they were very, very supportive. There are two people here in the room today that I want to thank. One, I had no idea. They didn't tell me they were doing this, but okay, it was wonderful, and I thank you all. Glenn, my brother here, I just want to say one thing to you. I'm the little sister, you're the older brother, but after today, I'm the athlete in the family. I just want you to understand that. And as we go through high school, we have friends that we have for a lifetime. We get them in high school. Penny Jones is a friend that I have had for 45 years. We met as freshmen in high school. I'm not so sure we liked each other at that point in time, but we grew to like each other, and we have been friends for 45 years. So high school, you have those friends that you just keep forever and ever. As I went and looked at Roosevelt's website, it had been a minute since I kind of knew what was going on there, but they have a saying on there that says, "What I am to be, I am now becoming," which was kind of interesting to me because I have played basketball, I have coached basketball, I have officiated basketball all across the country, internationally. Yes, I am an Oregon Duck, I'm a Kansas Jayhawk, I'm a Missouri Tiger. I'm a whole bunch of stuff in terms of athletics. But the one thing that got me started in athletics was a Roosevelt Rough Rider. That was my start. And so, yes, we can clap. And so the saying, what I am to be, I am now becoming, starts in high school, and it did for me. It led me all through my career. So I'm going to be very short. I just want to, again, thank my family, my friends that are here, Roosevelt High School, and the SPS Athletics Hall of Fame. I just want to thank you for this award. It's wonderful. Thank you.
You should come back and host this next year. A lot of power there. All right. Congratulations, Debbie. Don Bies graduated Ballard High School in 1955, and he was an absolute star in golf. Jumping out of the page to me, three-time winner of the Washington Open, and he played in the 1968 U.S. Open. And in the 1968 U.S. Open, he tied for fifth, which, if you follow golf, you know how tough that U.S. Open can be. It's ridiculous the way they groom those courses. Well, he tied for fifth. Lee Trevino won it. Jack Nicklaus finished second. I mean, the guys in front of him were just like stars, legends. And Don finished tied for fifth at that U.S. Open. I thought that was really cool. He spent 13 years on the PGA Tour. He won one event. It probably didn't go as well as he wanted it to go. But then he kind of told himself, as I understand it, and I read up on his history, when he turned 50, he said, this is going to be my best chance to do really well in golf. Because at 50, you're a rookie on the senior tour. So back then it was the senior tour, and then it turned into the Champions Tour. He goes on a rookie, and the guys are scratching their heads that have been on that tour for 6 or 7 years, like, who is this guy? He won 7 senior events, and then some internationally as well. So he had a lot of success there. And you talk about believing in yourself. This is a guy who absolutely believed in himself because he had a restaurant business that was doing well here when he was 50. And he just said, he walked away from it, and he hit the golf course, and he did really well on the senior tour. So I think that's just one of those nice things to hear. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee Don Bies, and accepting for Don tonight is Don Bies.
When my dad started golf, at least what he told me, was that he got on a bus and went downtown and went to a thrift store and bought a 7-iron. At that time, he lived in Ballard, close to Olympic View Golf Club. He would do is, when he came home from school, his parents both worked late every day, and he would sneak on the golf course and find golf balls and hit them until he essentially got kicked off the course. And what he would do is watch the swings of the good golfers and copy their swings. And through a lot of practice and junior tournaments, that is essentially how he started his golf career.
After being able to caddy for Grandpa, it's not like I was a regular caddy, I was part of his family. So I got to go into the locker room with him after rounds, before rounds, have food, lunch, dinner, things like that at the golf course with them. I think what amazes me and still blows me away is just whenever we were sitting down with other people, other golfers, whether it be Hubert Green just saying, hey, your Gramps is a good guy. He's always so good when he's on the golf course. He's a very good golfer, a hard competitor, and just incredibly tough to beat. Or other individuals saying how great of an individual he is, how caring he is. Those are things that, no matter what type of golf we're playing, that I will always cherish and remember. In knowing that I am related to somebody that has a heart, who loves and wants everybody else to be better, is something that I will take away for a very long time. Later on in life, being able to sit down and watch a tournament with him, and if it was at a golf course I used to play at, he can tell me, what way a green breaks, what way a putt's going to go, where he needed to hit a shot here, who he competed against, and what kind of shots he did. So the visualization aspect of it is something that is amazing and just so much fun to constantly hear.
We've had a lot of fun playing different courses around the country, usually sneak them in between a golf tournament or after a tournament, and just incredible adventures that I won't forget. Congratulations, Dad, on your acceptance into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. Well deserved.
Congratulations, Gramps, on your induction to the SPS Athletic Hall of Fame.
Great to have Don Bies here.
Thank you, Paul. Dick told me only.
Could you just get a picture just with me, just for a second? All right, Don. There you go. Hold your award.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. I'd like to thank Dick Lee and all the committee for selecting me. It's a great honor. And I'd just like to say I've had a great career. And it really all started at Ballard High School. I went there as a freshman and made the golf team. And when I went there as a freshman, there was like 7 or 8 players that could shoot par or better at Ballard High School. And that was, I still think that would be one of the best golf teams of any high school today, to have that. And it was a stepping stone for me to the future. I really learned to be competitive. Guys were tough. Sometimes we'd be playing for 50 cents on a golf course, and we'd be really grinding, and it taught us a lot how to handle pressure and whatever. And so it really was a stepping stone. I owe Ballard High School a lot. And I guess my career, I'm so happy about it that I was able to play the tour for so long. I played in New Zealand, Japan, Canada, Mexico. I played tournaments in Cape Town, South Africa, Johannesburg, Morocco, Scotland, British Open. So it's really been a great run for me. Played in all 50 states, and so I've got a lot of miles on me. I'm retired now, and just was a great career. I was able to play with Nicholas and Palmer and Sam Snead and Lee Trevino, and I played with Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Glenn Campbell. You know, I've met presidents. It's been a great run, and I'm just enjoying it now. And I guess I'd like to, I guess it was nice to share it with my family, and I could really do that with golf. And my wife, Marilyn, was my #1 supporter over here, and because we had 3 children, and I did a lot of traveling. And so that was great, and just it was great to share with the family. I just want to thank them all, and a bunch of them are here, and there's a lot of good golfers over there in that table. They really do play well. And thanks again. Appreciate it.
Man, just listening to him talk about the people he played with and the people he met, some great history there. And I know from an inside source that Don has great stories. He could probably do the whole 2 hours here tonight, but we don't have time, Don. But boy, it was great reading up on the history. Aaron Brooks graduated Franklin High School in 2003. Pardon me? Oh. Of course, that's great. See, that's the one thing Tara Davis and I were talking about. She's so passionate about Rainier Beach High School. She couldn't even do a sentence without mentioning her high school. And I'm like, man, this woman is really into her high school, and she's really into school spirit. And so to hear you guys yell out the different nicknames and mascots and the high schools, it's very cool, man. It's very cool. Aaron had a tremendous career at Franklin. And again, I'd like to point out a few things. 4-year starter for the University of Oregon. But, you know, I go back to the days. Aaron's one of the rare people that I actually got to meet, you know, and got to watch play. And because I just missed a few of you, and I had never had a chance at some of you. But Aaron is one of those guys that I actually had a chance to meet. And we had just started a high school sports show. So Franklin was killing it at the time with Jason Kerr as the head coach. And they were winning titles right and left, whether it was state titles or Metro League titles. It was fun to watch. And I went to talk to Aaron, and I thought, hey, is this guy going to big time me? You know, because he's, you know, high school senior. He's feeling pretty good about himself, and he's had a lot of accolades. And I looked at him after the interview, and he's very humble. And I knew he was going to be humble because I just had this feeling about him. He's just humble, quiet, and did all his talking on the basketball court. And I said, look, when we were done, I said, remember, I know that you're going to have a great career in college and you're going to go on to the NBA, but don't you forget who I am. So when I call you down the road and I want a little exclusive or some kind of conference, just don't forget me, you know, don't big time me. And he said he wouldn't, and he never did. So and that's a credit to his upbringing, because I always talked to his mother at Nordstrom. I would go in there just randomly, and she would always be in there working, and was so proud when she spoke of Aaron. And that was great just to sit there and listen to her talk about her son. So Aaron Brooks goes on, and he has a tremendous career at Oregon. He gets drafted by the Houston Rockets, and then he has a career in the NBA that goes 10 years. And again, I could just tell you a little bit about Aaron, but here's some people who know a lot more about him.
I met Aaron Brooks working at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club. He was one of the first kids that I met when I started working there soon after I graduated from college. Aaron, I believe, was in the 6th grade at the time, and with his mom working double shifts and working late at night, we just developed that relationship to where he would actually help me close the club, and he'd get his homework done. He'd call his mom and say, hey, I'm down here at the club with Adam, and we're going to get some extra shots up. So,
for me, I never really saw Aaron as an athlete. He was just my younger brother who, no matter what I did, tried to be better than me, and typically did a really good job of it. I can remember plenty of times playing in the backyard, me making 3 shots, him deciding to make 4, Me trying to learn how to draw, him learning to draw better. Aaron is a competitor no matter what he does. You always try your best to be better than whoever else you're competing against. Sometimes that competitive nature gets the best of you. I can remember specifically a time where for some reason you thought that you could take on Shaquille O'Neal on the court fight. I think we all were wondering what you were thinking. But that was the competitor in you.
But he told me one day, you know what, Coach Adam, I don't really want to have a 9 to 5 when I become an adult. And so I think that just kind of helped him strive to reach his goals and accomplish the goals of playing professional basketball.
Aaron has exceeded any and all expectations but his own. Being a 6-foot point guard in a league dominated by six guards nowadays, he managed to find a way with his work ethic and his ability and lightning quick speed to stay in the league for 10 plus years. So I think one of my fondest memories, which I actually don't talk about much, was early morning one-on-one games in the house hallway. I think it was the way you learned how to get through really small areas on the basketball court.
One of the biggest things that I'm also proud of Aaron for is his commitment to the community. So even after going to college and making it in the NBA and so forth, he always gives back. And he might just drop by Rotary on a random day. If we need help with things, he'll come back and help.
Hey, B, just wanted to say congratulations to your induction into the SPS Athletic Hall of Fame. You deserve it. You've worked hard for it, and we're all proud of you.
Aaron Jawaan Brooks, I would like to say congratulations to you, to your wife, to your family, for your induction into Seattle Public Schools.
That was crazy to see. I ain't never heard my brother talk about me like that. Was so, and that was sweet. So I want to divide this award up to my family and my friends and to the Seattle community. That's been amazing to me. So I can get on my phone so I don't miss nobody. I didn't write no speech, but I want to make sure I don't miss nobody and say thank you. So give me a second. First, I'm giving honor to God, for my ability and just to be here, sing, talk, being here. Thank you. To the Seattle Public Schools, to all my teachers, that was in class with me. I know sometimes it got a little bit tough. Thank you for being there for me. I'm sure they wouldn't have thought that I'd be up here right now giving this speech. So to Miss Ferguson, Miss Bunzel, Miss Williams, to my principal, Mr. Brown, that actually was my coach in high school. You guys, thank you guys for putting up with me and helping me get here. To my wife and kids, I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. To my kids, hard work pays off. Anything is possible. I never thought I'd be up here. Just keep putting God first and keep going, and anything is possible. To my coaches, you guys are amazing. The time that you guys put in and the value, I can never pay you guys back for everything you've done. Adam, that was amazing to hear because there's timeless times that, I really helped close Rotary, 2 hours. He would stay after 2 hours to make sure that I got my practice in. And he was there to help me with my homework. Father, dad, mom. Oh, my God. There's so many people to thank. Thank you, guys. To my brother, yes, he was my motivation growing up. I wanted to be better than him. If he wasn't on the right path, I would never be here. If he would have went bad, I would have been right there with him. So I appreciate him for leading me in the right direction. Tara, because everybody said something about Tara. I just remember Tara was one of my first basketball counselors at UW. I was a UW fan before I signed my letter of intent to Oregon. I want to put that. So, Tara, I really do appreciate you for what you wrote on the back of my T-shirt. You told me I could do anything if I kept working. I do remember that, so thank you. I really do. And that's just what the community has been for me. Seattle has been amazing. I would never leave. I love it here. Everybody here has been amazing, from View Ridge to Exxon to the African American Academy to Franklin. From north to south to the central, man, Seattle's been amazing, so thank you guys.
Congratulations, Aaron. Oh. It's those light moments that people remember. Okay. Okay, Ross Flowers, Garfield graduate, 1989. Basketball, cross country, track. 4-year honor student, and served as ASB president. And, it's one of those things where we talk about the athletic resume and how impressive it is for all of you. But to go that extra mile that Ross Flowers did, it's really it's just the way he can accomplish things outside on the field and inside that classroom is really, I think it's just impressive. 4-year letterman with a full athletic scholarship to UCLA. He wrote a book back just a few years ago, Introducing Your Child to Sports, and he was a special guest on New Day, and I got to listen to the interview, and it was about 10 minutes long, and he said so many important things, and you could tell that he has a great upbringing, and he's really turned out to be a heck of a man. He earned a doctorate degree in counseling psychology. And again, Ross is just one that stands out of all the inductees that I read up on. He's just the one that he had a solid athletic resume, but boy, to go that extra mile, become a doctor, and be able to give back to the community as much as he does, it's just really impressive. So 2019 Hall of Fame inductee Ross Flowers. That's Dr. Ross Flowers. Here's a little bit more about Ross.
Ross Flowers was born with a gift of speed. He got those genes from his mother. Her father, Les Giles, ran on the Prairie View A&M track team and was a sprinter. From age group track, where he won several national championships, he also played other sports. He played soccer and basketball. As a soccer coach, of course, I thought that was his best sport. His last soccer game, when he played for his middle school team, he scored 4 goals. And I felt that was probably the introduction to him going on to a professional soccer career. But he enjoyed track much more.
And Ross was fast. If he was gone on the fast break, no one was going to catch him. Everybody knew it. But Ross had a nice 3-ball too. From 1980 to 1995, Garfield High School won 5 state championships in basketball and 5 state championships in track. Ross's athletic accomplishments certainly set that bar a little higher based on his athletic achievements. Ross's older brother, Chris Flowers at Lakeside, set the standard. And Ross, for 4 years, was in the honors classes, he was in the AP classes, he was one of the few diverse students to consistently take the calculus classes. He was no slouch academically. He performed admirably in almost everything he did. I can still hear Coach Frank Ahern, who was my pole vault coach, a very technical sport. Coach Ahern used to tell me that Ross was by far the best technician of a sport that Coach Ahern had ever seen. Ross could get that lead leg over the hurdle, and he could snap it back down and actually pick up speed as he went through those 110-meter high hurdles, those 300-meter hurdles.
At UCLA, he met some challenges. His first year, he had an injury. He had to have surgery. He had the choice between having surgery to place a rod in his leg or to taking a medical hardship and just continuing as a student. He chose to have surgery, went through serious rehabilitation, and then went on to win a Pac-10 championship in the 110 hurdles and become a several-time All-American in both indoor and outdoor track in the hurdles and the relays.
I am absolutely thrilled that Ross is being inducted into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. Anthony, Aiden, Christian, Uncle Bruce wasn't lying. Your dad was a bad man back in the day.
My wife and I have enjoyed working with him as he faces his challenges over the years, and looking forward to much more success for Ross and his family. Congratulations, Ross, and the saga continues. Anthony, Aiden, and Christian, Ross's 3 sons, it's now your challenge.
Make sure I don't forget this. Well, first of all, it's always a pleasure coming back home to Seattle. I have a lot of people I want to thank. First and foremost, SPSS, thank you for this opportunity to be here. And thank you for the committee members for considering me and allowing me to stand up here in front of you. You know, it was mentioned here that, you know, I won a number of titles before even entering high school. I thought that was going to be my claim to fame. I'd won 5 national championships, what was then TAC, what's now USA Track and Field Junior Olympics. I won 5 titles before I entered high school. So I thought, oh, that was a pretty good career. You know, that may be it. But I had great aspirations going into Garfield. I knew Garfield had a great tradition of success. They had, I think when I entered Garfield High School, maybe to this day, one of the best track and field programs that 1985, 1986 year. Many of the people on that team you will likely see on this stage after in the years to come, because I'm pretty sure there's about 4 state records that are still held by people on that team. So I entered Garfield with great aspirations. One of the things that I remember, though, when I entered that team, Coach Fred Beckwith, the late Fred Beckwith, said to me, you know, he'd kind of seen me in summer track running, and he said, you know, I think you're going to be a great 300 hurdler. And I said, I don't know about 300 hurdles. I'm a sprinter. You know, I do short distance. He said, no, you've got a great stride length. I think you're going to be a pretty good 300 hurdler. For whatever reason, I never quite got the 300 hurdles. I never really got the steps, and it just, for whatever reason, didn't work out. So Coach Beckwith said, let's put you in cross country. Make sure you get that endurance so you can run those 300 hurdles. So my senior year, he couldn't get me to run cross country through my senior year. My senior year, I ran cross country. He actually got me to run one full meet, which I completed. But that for sure helped me as I progressed going into college. So as I finished high school, I'd won a number of state titles. To this day, 31 years later, still have the state record in the 110-meter high hurdles. But that led me to have more faith and belief in what I could do going into college. I had a full ride going to UCLA, and similar to walking into Garfield's track and field program with all those great successful athletes, I walked into UCLA's program in 1988. They had, you know, a plethora of Olympians and Olympic champions, not just people who went to the games, but people who came away with gold medals. From Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Gail Devers, Kevin Young, Steve Lewis, Mike Marsh. I might go on and on about the people that were on the track. So that's what I walked into. So I had aspirations like, why not me? Why can't I go to the games? You know, I'll work hard and see if I can achieve those same things. Unfortunately, as my dad mentioned, I had a major injury. But while I went through that rehabilitation process, one of the things I learned about was who I was as an individual. I came into school thinking I'm going to the Olympics like everyone else that was at UCLA. But when I was told after that injury that you're probably not going to run track anymore, we've never had an injury like that in a hurdler, and your career's probably over. And so when my coach told me that, of course, I was hurt and I was shook. But I dedicated myself to learning more about who I am, what I wanted to be if I couldn't continue with track. Fortunately, I was able to, but that's when I learned about my future of being a psychologist. I was fortunate to have 2 other African-American men on campus who were doctors in psychology, and both were pursuing careers in sports psychology. So that was my introduction, and it opened me up to what is now, I've enjoyed a great career in sport and performance, having the opportunity to travel around the world with universities, Olympics, professional sports now, and in executive coaching with military, academia, and other professionals around the world. But one of the things I think that stood out to me was training every day in the company of so many great people. And from high school through college, one of the things I learned about surrounding yourself with people who will challenge you to grow, but also support you through that challenge. So I've got many people to thank. I don't want to go on too long, but the obvious ones are my high school coaches. The late Fred Beckwith and Frank Ahern were instrumental in my development in sport, but also really taught me how to be a man early on. One of the things that at that time in the mid to late 80s Garfield was known for was a lot of the violence and gang activity around the school. And Bruce and I were ASG president and ASG vice president. We did a lot of community service. And we go out to the community and talk about, how great Garfield was. A lot of people didn't know at that time we had the most National Merit Scholars in the state, and we had a great academic and science program. We weren't just a basketball and track and field powerhouse. Most importantly, my parents. My parents introduced me to sport. They taught me the fundamentals of motivation and how to not only be motivated for success externally, but how to find my internal motivation. They pushed me. They picked me up when I got hurt. They celebrated when I was successful. And today, they are my greatest life coaches. Thank you. As competitors, we want those hard-to-achieve goals. So outside of my parents, I've always had a hard-to-achieve goal in reaching the accolades of my older brother, Dr. Chris Flowers. He set the high bar of being a man with inner strength, humility, and integrity. And he's also taller than me, and at this age, he has a stronger head of hair. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my extended family. My aunts are here. Before school and after school, I spent a lot of time with them, and they helped nourish not only my belly, but also my spirit, my pride as a man, and they were never humbled to help me build my character. Yes, I did have a girlfriend that had a Jerry curl in high school. My closest friends are my friends from high school. My high school friends, we've been known as the Four Horsemen. They're the epitome of character, and we've been together for many years. I've known Bruce since we were 10 years old. We started summer track together. I thank you for always showing up for me, Bruce. Thank you. Most importantly, Anthony, Aiden, come on, Christian, turn around, brother. I encourage you to surround yourself with people who would challenge you to grow and who will always support you through that process. We've been through a lot together, and as Mr. Lee said earlier, dream big. But I encourage you, dream big in vivid color. Use all of your senses and make your dreams come alive. I thank you for allowing me to parent you and learn and relearn how to parent every day, because it always changes. We'll continue to play together, pray together, and stay together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Congratulations. Next up, Lisa Moldrem, Ingram High School, 1977, tennis, basketball, there we go, softball. But really, when it came to tennis, Lisa, that's where she really excelled. Played #1 singles while she was at Ingram. Went on to play at UW. Career doubles record of 59 and 23 with the Huskies, and that still ranks 4th in Husky history. So that's pretty impressive. 14 years as the women's tennis coach there. 6-time Pac-10 North Coach of the Year. That alone tells you right away that this woman not only could play the game, but could coach the heck out of it. And to be that successful and have that kind of longevity and to be that well rewarded as a 6-time Pac-10 North Coach of the Year, that really jumped out at me. That's outstanding. But the one thing that really jumped out to me that we just don't get to honor too much is our intramural prowess. Now, she was a 2-time UW intramurals free throw champion for both the men and the women. She hit 47 out of 50 and 48 out of 50. How do you do that? So anyway, Lisa's going to come up here in a few, but first, let's hear from some people that know her best.
Lisa played for me for 4 years, 1977 to 1981, I think. And she played number 1 position almost all the time. Her last 3 years, she was captain with the team. Her junior and senior year, she was an exemplary leader. And as a competitor, she was just incredible. I don't remember her ever losing a match in the Pacific Northwest in singles, and in doubles, she had the number 1 record ever for her one, I think it was 2 years.
I remember when you were first playing tennis at Ingram High School, you had such a passion for the game, and you also had such a passion for your teammates that when their matches were over, you'd be over encouraging them, and you just did a great job at that at all times. And it's something that I'll never forget.
So as a student, Lisa was excellent. A good example for all of her teammates. She always did well. She probably was on the honor roll all the time. And that's just outstanding because she also put in a lot of time for her tennis.
Lisa, I remember you as a player when I was at Nathan Hale, and you were so compassionate about the game. You didn't hit the ball overly hard, but you kept the ball in play at all times. And if the opportunity was there to put a ball away, you definitely could do that. And I remember when the matches were over, you were so compassionate with your fellow teammates and so forth. And even though they weren't at the high level of tennis that your tennis ability was, you always were encouraging them and telling them what a good job they did and how they should be pleased with the way they played.
So as a player, Lisa continued to develop and become a much stronger player even after college. And when she was teaching, she taught many, many hours a week, didn't have much time to practice, yet she still competed at a very high level. In tennis, people play in the open division up until they're maybe 35 years old, and then they play in the 35s and the 45s, etc. Well, Lisa played in the open well beyond her 35s and did very, very well. She also competed at the highest level for the USTA in team play for the Pacific Northwest. I want to congratulate Lisa on being inducted into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
Okay, Lisa, congratulations in your induction into the Hall of Fame. It couldn't be happening to a better person or a more deserving person than you. It's so nice to see that these things are still taking place and people are getting recognized for all of the hard work and time that they've put into things.
I'll try not to forget this either. First of all, I want to congratulate everybody who's here. This Hall of Fame is a very special thing, and there's so many people have already been inducted and are getting inducted tonight. And if you read their bios a little bit, it just astounds you all the many things they've done and all they've accomplished. It's really, really fun to even learn about all of you. It's some of you I've followed, some of you I've met at the University of Washington. It's been a fun thing to see. It's a special night because actually I was a basketball nut in high school. That was obvious. I like to shoot. You figured that out. But out there are two people I played at the very same time. Debbie Adams has already come up, and also Sue Stimack. They were at Roosevelt, and at Ballard I was at Ingram Ram. Go Ingram. Greg Goose, Joe Inslee. Here we go. Anyway, I got to play against those guys for 3 or 4 years. We came from good teams. We all battled hard. Luckily, Debbie was down low crashing bodies. I was on the outside shooting and playing a little defense. They didn't make me rebound, thank goodness. not a highlight for me. But we were able to do many sports. We just had gotten into sports in our era. We were very lucky to be able to do 3 sports. So it's great to share with Sue and with Debbie. We've been together for, gosh, we haven't seen each other forever, and it's been 40-some years, and here we are together tonight. So that's really, congratulations to all of them. You can probably tell by now I was probably a person, when I was young, if there was a basketball and there was competition, I would be in the midst of it. From a very young age to junior high, to high school, to college, to after college. If there was a ball and there was competition, I was there. There's hardly any ball sport I didn't like. Don't let me do those slippery sports where you ski or you slide. They're not my highlight. But I really enjoyed sports. It took me far. Coming out of high school, Debbie went off to track. Sue went off to go basketball. I went off to tennis. You can do 2 sports. And I got a lot of opportunities at the University of Washington to play both locally and nationally. Move on to coaching next. That was a really fun time of my life. And then now I'm teaching in a club. I'm going to teach all ages, young people, masterful people who played many years. And it's just been a great time to share my passion for sports, my passion for what life skills can do for you as you grow. And it's just a really fun time of life to still be able to teach. Luckily in tennis, you can do this for a lifetime. So you can go out and compete. They have like 60s and 70s and 80s onwards. So luckily I still get to compete. I still love to compete. I did give up the basketball in my early 40s, but it always is a fun way. I have a couple of my teammates here tonight, which was always a good time. One of the things that I want to do for sure is thank some people. First, my family. I was one of the sports people in my family. Not everybody did sports, but my parents and my family really supported me and came out and encouraged me in all the things I enjoyed to do. Another one are coaches. I think in high school and college, the coaches that you have help you grow out of your shyness, grow into, if you have a lot of intensity and passion and competitiveness, how to sort of channel it in the direction that actually gets you in a positive way with all the ambition that you have inside of you. I know my basketball coach in high school was incredible at Ingram. She really helped shape me as I went. Another one is the teammates. We don't talk about our teammates. All you guys here have been on teams. You know how much important teammates are. I can't thank my teammates enough. 2 are right here. Played basketball together for years. They're your friends for life, as Debbie was saying. There's friends out there everywhere. The biggest one I probably want to thank is the Seattle Public Schools, where we had a great time, all of us here, in the Seattle Public Schools. First of all, for this dinner tonight, I know it's a huge thing to organize. To even start a Hall of Fame, I think we're in our 3rd year here, and to have the desire to do this and to set the traditions for the Seattle Public Schools is just fantastic for all of us. And especially for the players here that are currently in high school or younger, to hopefully look at this and someday up here one of them will be, after they go out and achieve their goals and they let their spirit take them wherever they dream to be. And hopefully we can all go out and share our passion with the people we see. I'm lucky I still get to teach, so I get to share it every day. What a dream to be able to teach and share my desires and everything I've enjoyed about sports all these years. So thank you so much. And again, this is a great opportunity, and I just really appreciate the honor. Thanks.
Congratulations, Lisa. Next up, Rick Noji, Franklin High School, 1985. See, I'm getting used to it now. Like it's all old hat. Set an all-time high jump record at 7'4.5", which still stands today. Won 4 state championship titles. Rick, it's almost, I mean, we say track, but this guy was just most notably, he was just ridiculous. He had this ridiculous ability to jump. I mean, standing at 5'8", he set his personal height, his personal best height at 7'7". That's almost 2 feet above his head. I mean, when you just say it, I'm sorry, Rick, it just makes me laugh a little bit, but it's, I mean, you play second all time in the world for height overhead ratio for high jumpers. That's 5'8", jumping 7'7". Very cool. Rick Noji, and here's some people who know a lot more about him.
First got to know Rick in 1982 when he was out playing football on the street with 2 of my neighbors, Van Lazaga and Doug Munette.
So Rick, you know, growing up, we always knew that you're one of those guys that always ran a little faster, jumped a little higher than everybody else. Nobody really knew how much more. But one thing I can say for you as an athlete, you were always unassuming, and you never made anyone feel bad about maybe we couldn't do as well as you. And you even had the craziness to even tell me one time, hey, if I just practice running and jumping, I could be just like you. I don't think most of us can do that.
May 12th, 1984. That's a day that will always stick with me as long as I live, because that was the day Rick jumped 7'4½", 2 meters 25 at the University of Washington in the Metro League meet. That was a state record. That is still the state record. That is still the Metro League record.
So Rick, you as a competitor, you really turned into somebody who was very motivated, focused, and had great work ethic. We all know how maybe in high school days it wasn't quite like that, but I will say track and field has done a lot for you and your life, and what you've done with your family life and work. You've done really well.
I was privileged enough to be in the Coliseum that day, even though he didn't make it out of the qualifying rounds. He's one of the youngest guys competing in the Olympic trials. He's going against guys like Dwight Stones, 1976 two-time Olympic medalist in the high jump. And here's this little 5'8" guy going against some of the world's best high jumpers.
So there's a lot known about all your athletic accomplishments from high school, college, national, the world. But I just want to name a few things from back in the day that probably weren't in the papers. So you may not remember this, but that junior year you jumped that 7'4½", I was there. And the only way I could get on that state track meet was to be on the pit crew. So I was there, the guy putting the bar up for you as you jumped that 7'4½". And I want to tell everybody, that 7'4½ was at least 2 inches high. So Rick, I want to congratulate you on your induction to the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
And on behalf of everyone on 49th Avenue, Rick, congratulations on your induction into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you, everyone. I do want to start off by saying Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame, thank you for this great honor. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to all the other honorees. I'm truly humbled to be a part of this 2019 class. Thank you for all the past inductees and voting members who made this night possible. Thank you very much. I know there's been some talk about some budget shortfalls in the schools coming up, but one thing I hope that is not affected are the athletic programs. I hope they are well maintained. Having that program for young adults can be, young adults that can participate can impact one's life tremendously. For me, it was track and field at Franklin High School. Before I got involved in the sport as a freshman, I have to be honest, I wasn't doing very well in school. I kind of lacked some direction. But thanks to my friend Doug Minetta, who you saw up on the screen there, who believed in me probably before I believed in myself, he actually, on the first day of track and field tryouts, he came to the bus and pulled me off the bus and really forced me to go try out for the Franklin High School team. So I owe him a debt of gratitude. But without him and without the program Franklin had, track and field program, I probably wouldn't be standing up here today. So thank you, Doug. One of the things I do looking back at my career is my coaches. And coaching is a thankless job. It's a time commitment that many don't realize. You must have good organizational skills, communication skills, a vision of a person's ability. You have to have a lot of understanding and a whole lot of patience, especially at the high school level. where you have to deal with teenagers who are trying to understand who they are and are usually fairly headstrong and always think they're right. I was probably one of those teens. But unfortunately, my Coach Bundy, my high school coach, wasn't able to make it tonight. He had to cancel the last minute today. But I always wanted to thank him for really listening to me and giving me a voice and really valuing my opinion. That really helped me grow my confidence. So thank you, Coach Bundy. I hope you're feeling better. Paul Merca. As you heard, I've known Paul for, 36 plus years. And my friend Van Lazaga introduced us. Like Paul said, we were kind of fooling around on the street, and he introduced us. Paul was a great runner himself. He was a good cross-country runner at Franklin High School and eventually at the University of Washington. But his brother, too, Roy Merca, who now is a vice principal at Roosevelt High School, won 3 Metro championships in tennis. So they come from a very athletic family. Paul has always loved track and field, and he really is kind of a walking encyclopedia. So if you ever have any questions about track and field, get a hold of Paul. So I always remember I made my first World Championship team in 1991, and that was in Tokyo, Japan. And I was walking on the field getting ready to compete, and I look over, and there's Paul. And he's one of the spotters there, but he's holding this football. And he throws me the football while I'm getting ready to compete. And so we start throwing the football around on the track, this is a World Championship setting. And so we start throwing the football around, and I'm throwing it back to him, and then I'm throwing it back to Charles Austin, who eventually won the high jump at the World Championships. And I remember talking to Charles several years later, and he always remembered that moment, that it just kind of helped him relax, and he was able to relax, and he was able to concentrate and zone in instead of just being so tight. So he too thanks you, Paul. But no, really, Paul, thanks for always being in my corner, and I really appreciate our friendship. So you're a great guy. Thank you. I also want to say thank you to my sister Pat, my niece Megan, and not my sister Pat, but my sister Julie, my brother-in-law Pat, and my niece Megan. Thank you for coming tonight and always being in my corner, especially to my sister who really had to endure the ups and downs of a emotional teenager going through the track and field world. So thank you very much. To my wife Amy. I remember meeting my wife, Amy, for the first time in Orrin Richburg's office at the University of Washington. She was a freshman. I think I was a junior back then. Of course, she doesn't remember the time when I first met her, but I do. And we never dated during college, but luckily we got together many, many years after, and we both agree if we would have dated early on, we probably wouldn't have liked each other. So things work out the way they should. And then lastly, to my daughter, Kayla, who just turned 11 and a half, I just want to say she is just learning about this whole track and field career and my accomplishments, but she's the one that really kind of keeps me humble. She definitely is my fashion coordinator, and she looks back at some of these old pictures and she was like, I can't.
Thank you, Rick. Next up, Sue Stimack Verdine, Ballard High School. See, I even gave you a gap there. I like it. 1978, basketball, tennis, volleyball. I think you probably, when you lead a team to their first ever state tournament, that's always a historical thing. She was the team captain, MVP, student athlete of the year at Ballard, and led the Beavers to their state basketball tournament for the first time in school history. It had to be a super memory for her back in high school. But then she goes on to Seattle U and just tears it up. First female basketball player to earn All-America honors for Seattle U. She set the single-season scoring record as a junior, and it stood for 8 years. So that had to be a heck of a number as well. First female athlete to have her jersey retired at Ballard, and also had her jersey retired at Seattle University, and she graduated Seattle U magna cum laude. So, boy, just kind of like, lots of stuff here, but here's more people that know more about her than me.
So my mom stopped playing before I was born, and it was also playing before there were video cameras, so I didn't get to see much evidence of her playing. But now she's been getting into tennis a lot, and I can tell how much competitor she is by how upset she is when she gets home after losing a match. I can see how it correlated to her performance on the court.
My best memory with my mom in basketball would be when I finally beat her in the backyard. And I could see that competitive side of her. I was pretty pissed off, but all in all, she was pretty proud that her daughter finally beat her. At the time, it always bugged me after games. My mom would have pointers for me, but I thank you for all those pointers, because after 4 years of college basketball, I wouldn't have gotten there without all of your pointers.
I like to tell people that I'm the best shooter in the family, but once they realize that my mother's been inducted into not just her high school Hall of Fame, but also college, as well as an All-American in college, they stopped listening to me pretty quickly.
I never got to see you as a teammate or a leader to your team, but I can tell, being a part of your family, that you truly did care about your teammates and those who you were surrounded by, and I admire that.
My sophomore year, my mom got her jersey retired at Ballard High School, and before the game, we had a banquet, and the team and I sat down at a table, and there's a flyer out with all of her accomplishments on it, and the team starts reading it, and they all look at me, and they're like, "John, you never told me that your mom did all this." And I look back at them, and I go, "I had no idea." We spent about the next 5 minutes going through the thing because there were so many accomplishments she had.
I like to think I got a little bit of my work ethic from my mom, as pretty much any time I come home now, I have no idea where she is, but I noticed that all of her tennis gear is gone. So I know she's always out on the court, always wanting to get better, and it definitely shows, because at her age, she still beats me every single time.
Over the last year and a half, I've got to spend a lot of time in both the Ballard High School gym as well as the SU gym, and it's pretty awesome, one, to walk in and see my mom's jersey hanging up there, but two, also having people come up and point up at the rafters and just go, "Man, your mom was a baller." My mom's love and passion for the game is pretty incredible, and one thing she does really expresses that is she shoots her age before she leaves every time we're up at the cabin, but now it's starting to take longer and longer, so yeah. Congratulations, Mom, on your induction in the Seattle Public School Athletic Hall of Fame. You're the best, and I love you.
Congratulations, Mom, on your induction into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm really proud of you, and I love you.
Come on up here, Mom. You got some comedians there. I'll take a picture real quick. All right. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Take this out of your way.
Well, I thought after my kids talked, I'd be up here in tears, but I think, okay, thank you. That was very funny. Yes, I am getting older, so I'm going to use these. Thank you. And first, I'd like to congratulate all of this year's inductees. This is an amazing class. And something very special about it is, I think Lisa alluded to it earlier, a few of the people I got to actually play with, Lisa Moldrem on both the basketball court and tennis court, and Debbie Adams out on the basketball court. Don Bies, fellow Ballard grad. And then Jawaan Oldham, who's not here tonight. We both wore 33 at Seattle U proudly. And Ruth Jessen, who's not here with us, unfortunately, but for any woman that could get a letter on the men's golf team at any time in their life, more power to you, baby. That's awesome. That was great. And I'd like to make a special thank you to Dick Lee for having the vision of a Seattle Public Schools Hall of Fame, and also to congratulate him on the Inslee Award tonight, fellow Beaver. And to the Seattle Public Schools for, it's not easy. 140 years is a lot of years to go back over. And make that decision to have a Hall of Fame. So to Pat and Tara, thank you for all your work in making that a reality for all of us inductees here tonight. So as I get older, I realize that you get a much deeper perspective on why things happen in life, especially when you're recognized for something that you love to do. So to answer my why, I'm going to borrow and twist my 3 favorite antidotes from Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. So if you've read Outliers, you'll probably recognize the 3 antidotes I'm going to talk about. If you haven't read Outliers, this crowd, you would love it, so I highly recommend it. The first was the year I was born. I was born in 1960. So by being born in 1960 meant that I was going to be going to Ballard High School in 1975. Well, as a lot of us know and heard tonight, in 1972, Title IX passed. So by Title IX passing in 72, when I got to school in 75, I got to go try out for the girls' basketball team. I got to go try out for the girls' volleyball team, and I got to try out for the girls' tennis team. And I realize now that I'm older, that if I had been born in 1957, I couldn't have been on that basketball team, I couldn't have been on that volleyball team, and I couldn't have been on the tennis team. So right there, I was very fortunate just being born in 1960. And then the next one I'm going to steal and kind of twist is the 10,000 hour rule. So he basically says that if you put 10,000 hours into something that you love, you're going to be pretty darn good at it. So if you think about it, 10,000 hours is a lot of hours. And back in the day, you know, we didn't particularly have a sport that we put 10,000 hours into before you got to high school. But what did we do with our time back then between the age of 5 and 15 after school when we didn't have the homework they have now? We didn't have social media. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have a computer. They were working on those at that time. We didn't have AAU basketball, and we didn't have personal trainers. What we did was we played. So I was sandwiched in between 2 brothers. I learned to play football, both tackle and touch. I learned to play softball. I learned to play soccer. We made hydros. Some of you remember this, hydros out of wood, put them behind our bikes. We rode our bikes all over the neighborhood. We boxed. For anybody that's from Seattle at that time, boxing was big. My brothers and I, we'd put on the gloves and get out in the backyard and hit each other. And also when my older brother, Johnny, went out for the tennis team at Ballard, he let me tag along to the tennis courts with him, so that's how I learned how to play tennis. And then we also had the back alley, and I know somebody else mentioned earlier they played in the back alley. Well, if you played in the back alley in the Loyal Heights area, you had to be tough. You either landed in the fence if you drove to the right-hand side, you landed in the garbage cans if you drove to the left-hand side, and I thank the lilac tree in the back alley because I had to learn to shoot over it on the right-hand baseline. So I swear I got my scholarship to Seattle U because I had a great right-hand baseline jump shot. And that's because of that lilac tree. So the 10,000 hours, no, we didn't particularly have it in a sport, but we were out there training, and we didn't even know we were training for all those hours from being a 5-year-old to a 15-year-old. So we played. And then the most important thing that I learned from Mr. Gladwell's book was community. And I'm from Ballard. My mom was raised and graduated from Ballard High School. My dad had a business for 45 years in Ballard. My kids, they both graduated from Ballard High School. So what I learned when I read the book was he had taken this, looked at this community from Italy. They came to America. They found out that this community ended up living longer than any other, or the 10 years longer than the American average. And by that happening, they thought, well, is it the medicine? No, they didn't need medicine. They were a healthy community. It wasn't their exercise, and they just found out that what it was all about was community. And so I realized that Ballard community that I come from is where the heart and soul of who I am and what I am is all about. And on the basketball court, my teammates, they were amazing. Probably some of the best female athletes that I ever played with, and I think they're probably still some of the best female athletes that went through the halls of Ballard High School. Jody Nackey, Tootie Compton, Roberta Riley, Christie Mack, Sue Nugent. They were fantastic athletes. And then I had coaches that I adored at Ballard. My tennis coach, who's still a dear friend and got me back into tennis, B.B. Burns. O.L. Mitchell was our girls basketball coach, and Mrs. Awami was our assistant coach who knew nothing about basketball, but she was a lovely lady. And she was great. And then here tonight is my very, very first coach from when I was 10 years old at the Loyal Heights Community Center, Diane Larson. She's here, and so if it hadn't been for Diane, I may not be up here tonight. And then I had the opportunity, yes, to go to Seattle University to play basketball. I played for Dave Cox at Seattle University. He, thank goodness, was an offensive-minded coach, so I had a great career there. And my teammates at Seattle U are my best friends for a lifetime. They're near and dear to my heart. And then I do realize that the anchor of my community is my family. My dad, he believed that girls could play sports. My mom, she knew nothing about sports. She never missed a game. She never missed a match. And that continued on into college. My brothers, obviously I told you, they toughened me up. They made me tough. But at the end of the day, we all supported each other 100%. And then remember that little girl that played all the time? Well, when I was in my 20s, because of what I got to play all the time when I was a little kid, I was a pretty good softball player, so I got asked to play softball on a co-ed softball team and go out to my first practice, and I stole the base that my future husband, John Verdine, was holding at that time, and that led to our first date, which was a golf tournament, and we've been married 27 years, and we have our fantastic 2 children, Johnny and Beverly, that you met up here, who also had great careers at Ballard, and they left their mark there too. So in my perspective looking at life, I have to say that I was very fortunate. Timing was great. And I was blessed and had this fantastic community. Ballard is all about friends and family, and I have many friends and family here today. And I'm just honored to be here, to be honored to be in the Seattle Public Schools Hall of Fame, and really to represent Ballard High School. So congratulations to all the inductees and to all of the family and friends that are here to support them. And since I do have the mic right now, I'm going to end this with, it is always great to be a Beaver.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.
Okay, boxing, man.
Metro League Hall of Fame induction ceremony 2019. That was Sue Stimack for Dwayne.
All right, let's talk about Doug Christie.
Coming up next, Rainier Beach alumni, Sacramento King, Doug Christie.
Their first ever basketball state championship, All-American, Metro, and State Player of the Year. What I found interesting about Doug is, he led Pepperdine to 2 consecutive West Coast Conference championships, regular season and tournament championships, 2-time WCC Player of the Year. So I go back to find out how much this program won after he left. And he left there, 92, and they've only won the regular season title twice since he left. So it just tells you what kind of a program they had when he was there and what kind of an impact he made. Played 15 years in the NBA. The Sonics drafted him and traded him to the Lakers. They misspelled his name on the first night he played for them, and so they had to take his jersey off and get it right. He was the last one to wear number 8 with the Lakers before Kobe Bryant took that over. So here's more about Doug Christie. No video?
There's no video. It's supposed to be Dale Christie accepting for Doug Christie.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a speed bump in the program. Hey, we can't be perfect here. Come on up here, Dale. Accepting for Doug Christie, Dale. Dale, get on up here. Where's our guy? You want to take a picture real quick before we get started?
Well, thank you, Paul. My name is Dale Christie. I'm Doug's uncle. He's working the Kings-Knicks game tonight at Madison Square Garden. So he's not able to be here, but I would like to be here. He sent a few words, and I'd like to read them for you. This is an incredibly humble honor. As a kid coming from southeast Seattle from a single percent household, I credit my whole community for helping me push and show me what I needed to see and experience to help me reach my goals. But absolutely none of this is not possible without my backbone, my greatest supporter, my late mom, Norma Dale Christie. Her sacrifice and support were unparalleled, working incredibly long hours to make sure we had what we needed. I love her and I miss her dearly. Awards like this don't happen without many people to support these athletes, and I'd like to recognize a few. Glenn Smith, thank you for your friendship, for being the toughest on me as my coach, and as I didn't understand at the time, much love. Mel Williams, my guy, the first person that ever told me that I could make it to the NBA, and right then my dream was real, and I love you for that. Mrs. Pardo, rest in peace, told me that I could go to college when I wasn't sure, and she sat me down to write a letter to every school that I was interested in. What a blessing to have people like that in your life. Francis Williams, thank you for pushing me to be better than I ever thought I could be. And then finally, he acknowledges me, Uncle Dale Christie, who has been there and supported me every step of the way from high school to my recruiting to visit Pepperdine, and I truly appreciate it and love you for that. As you can see, it takes more than just the athlete to be successful. Many people sacrifice, and I thank each and every one of them. I would also like to take the Metro League and, of course, Seattle Public Schools for the recognition and the incredible platform that allows all of our athletes to thrive and show their incredible skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale. Finally, this evening, Jawaan Oldham, Cleveland High School in 1976. Yeah. Oh, this guy was an absolute basketball star. He led the Eagles to 2 consecutive state championships. He had a solid career at Seattle U. When he gets to the NBA, he's drafted in the 2nd round by the Nuggets. And in his 10-year career in the NBA, he actually got to play with Michael Jordan with the Bulls before they owned it. But boy, what a thrill to be able to play alongside Michael Jordan. He was the last Bulls player, actually, to wear number 33 before Scottie Pippen took that over. So, and Sue mentioned 33 before. He brought his overall game worldwide, and it's in the program, and there's so much, but he did so much worldwide, too, after he was done playing that it deserves recognition for sure. And accepting for Jawaan Oldham tonight is Cammie Rogers. I gotta follow the rules.
Good evening. I've known Jawaan, I want to say, for about 30-some years. He was one of the first persons I've met out of high school. And I emailed him. Tara wanted to get a hold of him and didn't know how, so I emailed him. And he immediately responded back, "No way, it's got to be a hoax, not me." So I forwarded him the information that Tara and the athletic department sent, and he was floored. He kept responding back, no way, this can't be me. Make sure that it's me who you wanted. So he was very surprised, but very proud to have been able to accept this award on his behalf. He sent me a few words, not much. Jawaan's not really big on words. I don't know if anybody had known him, but he was very quiet. So, yeah. So he wanted to let me know that he was very privileged to accept this award and being inducted into the Seattle Public Schools Athletic Program of Hall of Fame. Jawaan also said that he always cherished his time that he spent with the Seattle Public Schools system regarding his education and his athletic programs. Coming from Chicago as a very young man, I always thought of Seattle's public schools systems to be one of the best systems academically and athletic in the country, and I was blessed to be a part of the program. I shall always support and respect the program, not only for what it has done for me, but what it has done for so many, and will continue its mission to uplift so many young athletic students in the future. Please accept my apologies for not being here on this historic occasion for the strong and proud Seattle Public Schools athletic program. I thank you. I know you will continue the journey to keep Seattle as a leader in education and athletics. And I want to take this moment to personally thank my mentors, Frank Adham, did I say that right? Adam? Thank you. Fred Harrison, James Taylor, and William Maynard. He also wants to give credit to Asa Mercer Junior High School and Cleveland High School for believing in him, plus uplifting him throughout his journey into adulthood. Thank you. Pretty much all.
Thank you, Cammie. You want to come up here and take over?
No, I just want to have everyone thank Mr. Sylvie.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Sylvie, what is 40 for 40?
40 for 40 is extra points my junior year in college.
And what is 17 for 20?
Career field goals.
Career field goals.
Yep.
And your longest field goal?
51. Okay. Who wins the car? Thank you very much for allowing me to be here tonight and for learning so much about all of you. And congratulations to the inductees. So well deserved. So, and thank you all for coming as well, because I know it's a school night and you all have to go to work tomorrow. So thank you for coming.
It is the 2019 Seattle Public Schools High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and then just wrapped up by Dick Lee and Paul Sylvie. A group of stellar student athletes inducted into this year's Hall of Fame, celebrating 140 years of athletic accomplishments. And you can catch a number of our interviews of the inductees on our Facebook Live page, where after they received their award, we sequestered them back to a private room to be interviewed. And so you can catch those interviews on our Facebook Live page. And as a matter of fact, anything that has been aired, you should be able to see it on demand now. And so you can certainly see interviews by those who were here to be inducted. A few of those names are Rick Noji. We had talked to Rick. We also had an interview with the potential presidential, well, I guess he is a presidential candidate at this point, and that would be Governor Jay Inslee. Also Debbie Adams. Debbie Adams, who was a basketball and track star, an All-American and All-City basketball player for the Lady Rough Riders, who won 5 individual state track titles for Roosevelt. And then also from the class of 1955, a golfer, Don Bies, lettered 4 years on the varsity golf team for the Beavers and won both All-City and Washington State Juniors. As a senior, became a professional golfer in 1957, earning 29 professional wins. Aaron Brooks was also here, so you can catch him on our Facebook Live page as well. As a junior, was named to the All-Kinko League first team and 2002 USA Basketball Junior National Team member, and led the Quakers to the 2003 state championship. Was a McDonald's All-American, playing in both the McDonald's and EA Sports National All-Star Games. A recipient of Washington Mr. Basketball, honored by the Washington Scholastic Basketball Coaches Association. Catch him. Ross Flowers also joined us. Ross lettered in basketball and country for the Garfield Bulldogs and was a member of the Triple Crown track team, winning Metro, District, and State championships. He earned 2 consecutive Metro, District, State 4x100 relay titles and 2 consecutive Metro, District, and State 110-meter high hurdles titles, and set the current state record in high hurdles. And maybe even more impressive, was a 4-year honor student, serving as ASB president and 101 Club Scholar athlete. His senior year went on to be a 4-year letterman with a full athletic scholarship to UCLA. That's Ross Flowers. You can catch him as well. And Lisa Moldrem from Ingram High School in 1977, basketball, soccer, softball, and tennis. Lettered in basketball, softball, and tennis for the Lady Rams. Played #1 singles for Ingram, competing in 4 consecutive tennis tournaments. In college, she ranked first in doubles for the University of Washington as a senior, after a senior win percentage of 86%. For 7 consecutive years, she ranked first in the Pacific Northwest Women's Open doubles and ranked #1 in USPTA Women's Open doubles and mixed doubles for 2 years. As I mentioned, Rick Noji was the Metro champion in the 100 meters, the high jump, the long jump, and the 4x100, and set the all-time high jump record at 7'4½", which still stands today. That's Rick Noji standing at 5'8" himself. Jumped almost 2 feet over his head. He won 4 state championship titles, the 200 meter, the high jump, and the long jump. He was a 6-time All-American high jump specialist at the University of Washington, and holds that school's high jump record as well at 7'6", and won the Pac-10 title. So, Sue Stimack, Verdine, again, 3-year from Ballard of 1978, 3-year basketball and tennis letterman for the Ballard Beavers. Won 2nd in tennis, Metros, qualifying for state, a first for any Ballard student. In college, she was the first female basketball player to earn All-America honors for Seattle University, and ranks 3rd in all-time scoring and named SU's Female Athlete of the Year. She set a single-season scoring record in her junior year at Seattle, a record that would stand for 8 years. It still is the 5th most points in a season. There were other inductees, but hey, you can check out the interview with our very own Paul Schneiderman on, again, our Rainier Avenue Radio Facebook page. This is Tony B coming to you live from the Seattle Public Schools High School Athletic Hall of Fame 2019 induction ceremony. We've also got interviews from some other folks earlier that when we were at the private VIP party. So when all the VIPs gathered before we came to the ceremony, we did talk to a few other folks here besides the inductees. And just been a great time here, especially following the WIAA State Championship Basketball Tournament, where we broadcast 30 games over the 4-day period. And you can go back and check those out. We've also got some wonderful interviews and highlights of the WIAA tournament. And Rainieravenueradio.world, your community radio station. Been a great time. Of course, we'll be bringing you more specialized programming along with our regular programming. And speaking of which, coming up next, we've got Sergio LaCour's Love Lines right here on Rainieravenueradio.world. So a little bit of quiet storm. You know how Sergio gets down on Love Lines. Call him up and make a request for your song for your loved one. On behalf of all of our staff today here at the Washington Athletic Club, Lucius Tenebris, Mr. James Street, Paul Schneiderman, Rick Dupree, and Edwin Bailey, Karen Zemet. It's me, Tony B. We'll return you to our regularly scheduled programming. And remember, as always, this is a perfect example of whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't. You are probably right. I'm out. Peace.